What's good? What's good? We are back. Another live from Fayettenam episode. Normally we go live, but we got a special guest, so we decided we're gonna pre-record this one, and we're gonna bring on the one and only Melvin Riley from Ready for the World. Let's bring him on. Melvin,
Hello.
what's good? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Doing great. Just been in the studio, as you can see. I got the Brett Favre look going on. So I'm doing good, man. Feeling good.
Appreciate you taking time. I know it's pretty early over there right now.
Yeah, it's all good.
So I want to start with Flint, Michigan, where you grew up. What was life like there?
It was beautiful, man. Flint, Michigan, back in the 60s, 70s, 80s was a automotive industry town. My mom and dad were both educators, but the majority of this town was Flint, Michigan, was more automotive, but it was never a place of, where you could not run around with family and enjoy life and all that. So it was beautiful growing up in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, I heard Flint, Michigan is actually pretty tough right now.
Yeah, through the years, things have changed, and I wouldn't say tough as much as I would say some of the uprooted or the new generation kind of came in and kind of defined some things in a way that Flint, Michigan, the city, did not deserve. But that's with any city or state in America. You've got all the states, but you've always got places where some of the youth have gone in and changed the dynamics of that city. But Flint is still a beautiful place to live. Flint has still got its thing going on, and we got a great mayor, Sheldon Neely, that's doing what he does. So I'm back and forth between Michigan and California. So Michigan is always going to be my home.
That's what's up. Now, what year did y'all form the group, Ready for the World?
It was formed actually at 17 when we graduated from high school. Back in 82 is when we pretty much
82.
formed the band.
Wow.
Yeah, we formed the band in 82 and went into the studio right after graduation, man, and did a demo tape of 4 songs. Oh Sheila was on it. Tonight, Deep Inside Your Love, and this one song called Drive 55. And we had a demo that we had put together right after high school, man. And I graduated at 17 and I was going to college, but we did the demo tape before we ended up, you know, moving forward. We ended up doing a demo tape early on.
Now, you came up with the name?
Well, Ready for the World comes from a song I wrote called Ceramic Girl on that first album. And I got a lyric in
Okay.
there that says, so nonchalant, laid back, and ready for the world. And our attorneys at the time felt like, you know what? That little phrase you said in Ceramic Girl, what do you think about naming the group Ready for the World? And I was kind of feeling like it was too long and dated feeling. It was too long. Like I didn't like those long name bands. I like the short, clever band names. But we tossed it around for a few weeks and said, you know what? We'll go with Ready for the World because it feels like it's universal. And
Yeah.
so and we settled on that Ready for the World.
Now, back in those days, how did you have to go about getting exposure to get record labels to take notice?
A lot of times you had to prove it on your own ahead of time. In this music industry, just because you are a record exec doesn't mean you have an ear for music or an ear for a hit.
Okay.
You may be able to facilitate paperwork, but you don't really have an ear for music. And sometimes record labels like a Barry Gordy might hear you, and he was blessed with this ear. He knew what he had, but not every record label has that. So what happens is you have to prove to them back in the 80s and the 90s that hey, you can sell records with or without them. And we did a label called Blue Lake Records, and within a couple of, I would say, a month, we sold like 6,000 copies of Tonight, and that took the notice of MCA Records. So we had a rep at the time named Calvin Ventura, who was a record rep from MCA Records. And he said, you guys need to take a look at these guys. They're selling records, 6,000 records in like a week. So Gerald Busby, who was very talented, like a Barry Gordy, he had the ear. You know what? Not only am I going to sign these guys, but I'm going to go ahead and put some real money behind them. So back then, that is how you got signed. A lot of times, is you had to sell it on your own.
So it sounds like it's been a misconception that labels just recently started signing established artists, from what you're telling me. Like, you kinda had to establish yourself back then, what you said, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's nothing new. A lot of times, like I said, you can have a great conversation, and the guy at the A&I department is like, "Yeah, well, I'll listen to him," and they may come back and say, "I don't really hear him." Whereas a guy with an ear says, "You know what? You got a hit artist right here." So instead of all the back and forth, you come to the label and say, "Look what I did." Now they got to take notice, and that's if you can get that conversation nowadays with labels.
Now how did MCA Records take notice?
That's how they took notice.
Oh,
Gerald Buzz.
you said off the sales?
Yeah, off the sales and the fact that Joe Busby had an ear, not only did he look at the sales records in the Midwest, but he
Uh-huh.
also looked at the fact that, you know what, I hear a sound with these guys. And unfortunately, you don't always have these A&R guys that can hear that. So that's what I'm saying. Gerald Busby had that ear to know that Ready for the World had something. And then he
Now,
signed us to that label, to MCA
y'all's
Records.
first single, which was in, I think, 1984, "Tonight," was that on a major label? Was that on MCA?
Yeah, Tonight was on our independent label at first, and
Okay.
then when he got wind of it, then Universal took it over, MCA took it over, and put real resources behind it.
Now, you said "Oh Sheila" was on your demo, and it was also the first. Was it the first single off the, first album?
No, Tonight was the first single off the first album. Then
Okay.
Deep Inside Your Love was number two, and then Oh Sheila. The DJs found Oh Sheila because we always thought it was a hot song.
Yeah.
But the label was going with that seductive ballad at the time, and then the radio station started saying, "When y'all gonna release Oh Sheila? That's your big hit." We felt it, but the record label wanted to take their time and see how it was going. And then when radio started listening to the entire album, they kept telling us and the radio reps, "You guys need to release Oh Sheila."
Now, did you think that record was gonna be as big as it became?
Oh, we always knew it was a hit. Yeah, the day I recorded it, I still got the audio when I recorded it, and it felt so good. We were playing it like it was on the radio, but it was just a demo. So you know what you got sometimes when you're a writer, and if you got an ear, you know what you got. You just don't know if it's going to be promoted or marketed yet, but you know if you got something. It's almost like a chef when he's putting together this little formula and he tastes it, and he's like, "Oh, I got something here." You got to have taste buds first to know if you can even take it to the people.
Now, on the second album, the follow-up, Long Time Coming, you drop, Love You Down. Did you know that record was gonna be as big as it became?
I thought In My Room was going to be the big record.
Okay.
And Lowell Silas at MCA said, "No, let's go with Love You Down." So me and him went back and forth. And to this day, I still think In My Room is one of my favorite ballads that I've done. But I did not know Love You Down would continue. And when I mean continue, this song has never, ever died. This song has gone and been used so many times. And I get requests from MCA all the time, Universal, someone wanting to do Love You Down. And just last week, I just approved another Love You Down. And the week before that, I approved another Love You Down. So yeah, I did not know Love You Down would be this huge. No.
Now, people always talk about, when you make a first hit, it's always hard to make the second. It doesn't seem like it was too hard for y'all guys.
Yeah, I think when you get into that zone of writing, you better stay in that zone. And I think we were just in a zone. I know I was in a zone writing Can He Do It, Love You Down Tonight, Oh Sheila. So when you get in that music zone, bro, you got to stay in that music zone because that's where your mind is right then. So to be honest, I thought we had some strong songs, from that first to the second album to the third album. But the reality of music industry is that you can have a great song, but if that record company does not put the resources behind that hit song, the world would never. They may like the song, but it's hard for it to blow up and for the world to hear it when that record company doesn't do their part. And so, yeah, I've always felt like we were pumping out the strong songs, my man. Definitely.
Now, the second album, it didn't like your first one went platinum, the second went gold, but you had, like you said, you had a huge hit record on the second album as well. Why you think there was a little bit of drop off on the sales? Was it marketing promotions?
Oh yeah, definitely. Gerald Busby left MCA and went to Motown.
Okay.
And you see what I mean? The quarterback left.
And then so you basically the guy that had, all the interest in promoting y'all left, and so
That's what
now y'all left with guys on the label that ain't so much interested, right?
well, interested, but maybe not as talented or understood what they had
Okay.
as much
Okay.
as Gerald Busby.
That
Gerald
makes a
Busby,
lot of sense.
yeah, yeah, that's really the story of Ready for the World. Whereas you see this gigantic band that's black, white, Hispanic, everything, and then you have great sales, and then the guy that promotes and markets you goes to another label. And he tried to take us to Motown, but MCA wouldn't let us go.
That's crazy. So y'all dropped music from like 1984 to 1991, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
92, yeah.
Okay, 92. What eventually caused you guys to start recording music as a group?
Well, to be honest, I've always been the one that was in the studio doing the majority of the work. Uh,
Okay.
so nothing really changed. I was the one, I did all of Love You Down by myself, lead vocal, backgrounds, music. Can he do it like this? So we had already resigned to the fact that Melvin has that work ethic, and whether we sit at home or not, the album is going to get done.
Yeah.
So guys have the opportunity of coming into the studio and laying their parts or being a part of. And unfortunately, sometimes in a band, not everybody has the same work ethic. And you have one guy that sometimes may just carry the brunt of the group. And that guy was me. And I was in the studio constantly by myself. So it was no drop off or change when we didn't come in the studio as a band anymore because I was already in there doing a lot of it. And I don't say that arrogantly. I say that that happens sometimes in a band. Not everybody has that same drive. Well, the record company is still looking for an album. And if you guys aren't going to come into the studio and I'm the main writer, I got to continue to do what I was doing from the beginning.
Now, this wasn't a question I had on my list, but what were like some of the musicians that you were looking up to when you first came into the game?
Oh man, definitely Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
Uh, I think this man is just out of here, as well as Prince, Michael
That's
Jackson,
Yeah, Prince and Michael are my top 2 favorites of all time.
yeah, and George Clinton.
George Clinton? Okay.
These were big musical, not only musical, but idea wise, the way that they put together not only a song but their image and their the way they saw music. And I think these guys are the geniuses of our era, and these are the guys I looked up to.
Now you got the new single, "You Complete Me," and, there's also a version with, Father MC. How'd that come about? Father
Well,
MC on the record.
well, actually, Livio Harris had put together some type of different promotional things, and
Okay.
so yeah, so Livio put together a promotional thing with Father MC, and my shout out to Livio, shout out to
Shouts out to
Father,
Livio, yep.
yeah.
Now that song, it seems like, you're still true to your sound from day one on that song. Am I right about that?
Oh, always, yeah. There's always going to be an element that made you win in the beginning that you should never tamper with. And I think that's my vocal style as well as my lyrical style and my delivery. But then the music can change. Of course, times change, sounds change, and it's an update thing that happens to the ear. Uh, but I stay true to my lyrics. I stay true to my vocal arrangements that I feel are the hot ones. And I will never stray from that because that's the magic of you. Everybody knows what makes them work and tick and makes them who they are and what makes them get out of bed and do what they do. And musically, you have to know what your strengths lie because it's all at the end of the day, it's about a great song.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when you go to a restaurant, it's about was the food good. After the lobby looks good, the waitresses are nice, the lighting is good, but the bottom line is the food good? And that's the way music is. We can put on this facade and people can do whatever, but at the bottom line is it hot? Is it sound? How
Yeah.
does it sound? Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, quality, definitely matters. And how do you feel about the quality of the music today?
I think there's a lot of great talent out there. I just think that I think we kind of got away from real melodies, real hooks. Even with today's music changing, you still got to have great hooks. You still got to
Yeah,
have great sounds. You got to have a vocalist that can deliver that song. They don't have to be the greatest vocalist in the world, but they have to have that it factor, that swag to deliver that song. And I think we kind of got away from that between 2000 and now. I think
yeah.
record execs fell off. Like I said earlier, the record execs have to be talented as well to know what they have. And I think they just started hooking up their boys and people getting jobs of A&R departments, not all, that don't know this music. And if they don't know the music, it starts to get amateuristic when you're signing anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, come on now, and I've heard this from a lot of different fans about how they feel about today's music. So I think the record executives and the artists have to be real with themselves and say, let's not rush putting anything out. Let's take our time and come up with some real music. So, and that's not putting down any of today's music because I love a lot of rap. I love a lot of R&B these days. But the majority that I'm hearing, for me personally, I'm not hearing the everyday. That's my jam. You know, back in the day, we was like, that's my jam. Then it might be another. That's my
Yeah.
jam.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I don't hear that like, oh, that's my jam, but every once in a while. And I want to continue to be that artist where people say that's my jam.
Do you think they've gotten away from originality too much and the sounds are just too repetitive?
Oh man, I'm not even. Hey, it is very cookie cutter these days, and I think that somebody has to go out on a limb and just do you. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. But more than likely, just do you, and you'd be surprised what you come up with when you just do you. Because you have a mindset and a perspective towards songs that 20 others may not have. And what you got to do is when you get in the studio, you just got to write you. And if you're wrong, okay, you were wrong. But do you
Yeah.
first and then find out what's up. You know, and that's where authenticity will come back. That's where originality will come back when people get in the studio and do them. And if they don't know how to do them, at least hopefully have a producer and a writer that knows how to be original and give your voice a platform.
Now, you still doing shows heavy?
Doing shows, still recording, just signed contract to do we're setting up 2025 right now because we just released
Okay.
You Complete Me. It's number 25 this week on Billboard, number
That's
4
what's up.
on internet. So we're launching You Complete Me to set up 2025 and then start dropping songs from there. So definitely live shows are still a wonderful thing. We just did Chicago, OKC, just did Las Vegas. Where was that? San Diego. About to do San Jose, and it's hard to keep up with the cities, but yeah, man. And the good thing about it, the old school artists are now in demand because people want to see that real show. They want to hear that real sound, and that's the beauty of still doing what we do.
Yeah, and one thing I love about TikTok is TikTok has actually been re-breaking a lot of these old songs. Like a lot of people think that TikTok is just for like young kids, but there's so many old songs from the 70s and 80s being rebroke and reintroduced. And that's another thing. Do you think like musicians tend to get complacent and forget that you still have to build new fan base constantly to reintroduce yourself?
I don't think. I think we get it. You know, I think the older artists get that you need that new platform of social media. I just think that a lot of artists that have been out before have to get with the right team, social media team.
Yeah.
That's the part where you have to decide. Okay, I got new music out or my old music out. I have to get with a social media team that really can kill the game as opposed to just posting stuff on social media. So
Yeah.
what will break those old songs again and will break your new music is you got to hire a social media team to put that song out. And you got to work social media now like they worked radio back in the day, you know.
Now, streaming, Spotify's made a lot of changes, which has definitely affected streaming even more. A lot of people are saying that we have to get back to direct to consumer. Do you agree with that?
Well, when you say direct to consumer, are you saying
They
tangible
mean
records
like
or
selling like physical products, actually bringing cassettes back, CDs back, um
I
basically things of that nature.
I mean, of course it's going to come back around maybe
Yeah.
30 years from now because it's going to be the value of that authenticity and people want something that nobody else has. I agree that they will come back. Right now, though, I don't think it's going to come full circle for another 20 to 25 years because technology is what it is. And
Yeah.
your children and everybody, they don't know the value of tangible records anymore. This is how they listen to music.
Yeah.
So I think we've lost and that's gone.
That's
I'm
gone.
not gone totally, but the way people listen to music, that probably won't come back around for another 25 years. So I think that we have to adapt as artists to what it is right now. Satellite radio. You got to get heard on satellite radio, terrestrial radio as well. You definitely want to be on that as well. But for the young generation, they like their own thing. They like making their own playlist. So it's
Yeah.
hard for them to hear your playlist if they made their own. You got to interrupt people's playlist by giving them promotion and marketing where they wasn't looking for it.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what's up. I had Livio had me clip up this video, I guess, where you it seems like you had a little issues with the other guys torn under the name. What was the whole situation behind that?
well, I never had an issue. I just let the fans know that
Uh-huh.
when you come to see Ready for the World, we got a lot of calls and emails from fans that who are these guys trying to perform your music?
So they were performing your music with you're not there.
Right, right. And of course, we were a band, and it's only two guys from the band that's going out as Ready for the World, but they don't
Okay.
have the lead singer, which is myself. And so fans have gotten upset about that.
Yeah.
So I had to address that to the fans because it's unfair for them to go to a concert thinking you're going to see Morris Day in the time, and Morris ain't.
Yeah.
Well, where's Morris? That's the way I would feel as a fan. So I had to take it upon myself to let the fans know you can see whoever you want to see. If you want to see the guys, I don't have a problem with that. Just know that if you want to come and see me, it's called Melvin Riley and Ready for the World, so that there's a distinction and you're not fooled.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Do
only
you
thing about that. It's not fair to the fans.
so do you feel like it's a little bit of false advertising on their behalf?
I mean, I don't know how they're promoting it. I don't really, I've never
Yeah.
seen the show. I've never seen how they advertise. So it's for me to say that, I don't know, but the fans obviously feel that way.
I mean, I definitely know that when people think of Ready for the World, you're probably the only name that really comes up.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's been the that's been the issue, with them going out doing Ready for the World. But as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't bother me one way or the other. It's all about what the fans want to see. They're not stopping me from touring. They're not stopping me from doing
Now,
what we have to do. So they try to stop us from doing what we do.
for 2020, okay. On 2025, is the plan to just drop singles, or are you gonna be working on an album as well?
It depends on how marketing and promotion goes. Right now, with people,
Okay.
pretty much just Spotifying and playing one particular song, maybe it might be safer to just put out singles because people kind of like gravitate toward that new song.
Yeah.
If you put out an album and they've gotten used to the songs, then when you try to release it, it may not get the bang for the buck. And that's why you see a lot of artists just dropping singles because people are focusing on a song as opposed to an album like that. And I know real traditional fans want a full album. excuse me, but from a marketing standpoint, you got to say, are they going to play the album 24/7, or are they just going to play the single 24/7? And so that's the way we kind of look at it.
Yeah, and I think, in my opinion, if you're an artist that doesn't have a diehard loyal fan base, it's probably not best that you drop albums.
Yeah, they'll probably never get to your work unless you promote that one particular single. Let them go ahead and find the other songs that you may come out with, maybe give them hints of it. But if you want to really promote a song, you got to concentrate on that song.
Now, how do you feel about the oversaturation of streaming? Like 100,000 songs a day seems like a lot.
It is. And the record companies know that.
Yeah.
Spotify knows that. YouTube knows that. And so the record companies, went after them years ago and let them know, if you're going to use our music, you're going to pay us this licensing fee. The difference is they're getting $800,000 every 30 minutes. The big three, Sony, MCA, Universal, and Warner Brothers, the big three are getting like about 800 grand every 30 minutes from
Every
streaming.
30 minutes? That's a
Ev-
lot of money every 30 minutes.
Every 30 minutes from streaming. The problem is they don't want to share that type of love to the artist
Yeah.
on the master side. So you've got people wanting to stream and they're streaming it, and the big threes will say, yeah, stream the hell out of it. But our relationship with our artists, we're going to break their contracts down to where we continue to still hold the majority of that revenue coming in and pay our artists like we want to pay them. Which, of course, through the years, that's going to change. New contracts are going to go and have to pay new artists more money for streaming. So with Congress having to pass it, you always have that relationship that Congress has with the big
Yeah.
three, and they're going to side with the big three until it can't anymore. And then year by year, they will release more royalties to the artists. They're going to have to.
Now, what's your opinion on artists selling their catalogs more than ever?
I think it's an individual thing. You got artists that aren't. They realize, well, I'm not going to live forever. I
Yeah.
want, I want my music to live forever.
Yeah.
And the publishing company comes and says, hey, we want to go ahead and just buy you out. You got to look at your age. You got to look at your children and say, they want to offer me $30 million. Let's see. And then you're already older. You're like, I'm not going to spend the money, but I would like for my grandkids to inherit that. So you got to make that decision. If you sell your catalog, you're going to get taxed on that 30 million. And then you got to go ahead and put that other money in trust for your kids, so that your grandkids and their kids can live off of your royalties. And it's an individual thing. Tina Turner, when they gave her the 50 million, what was that, 2 years ago?
Mhm.
And then she passes away. So it's kind of one of those things. It's an individual thing where she's like, okay, well, I know if you just give me 50 million, the only thing I'm going to do is put it into trust, but at least my kids will live off of that 25 million. Or she could have said, you know what? I'm just going to let them live off the royalties as they come in. For herself, independently, she's like, I won't be here to spend it anyway. So if I want to sell my publishing and stop all the fussing and fighting over my kids between my kids, I'll just get the money now, give them their money, and be done. And a
That
lot of
makes a lot
artists, yeah, and a lot of
that
artists,
makes a lot
we
of
we
sense.
talk about that.
Yeah. And yeah, I was always asking because I know, like, I seen when Takeoff for Migos passed, they started selling a lot of the Migos catalog off. And I almost thought, even though they were young artists, I felt like it made sense because the Migos were never gonna be the Migos ever again without Takeoff, in my opinion.
I think, yeah, and I think they realized that if we split this down and go ahead, we don't have any issues, because when it's sold, there's no more issues.
Yeah.
But through
It's
the years, as the royalties come in, you're going to have one person's family saying they deserve this, and one person's family saying they deserve that. It's that individual, thing. And it's great to have your own publishing, because as a writer, nobody's going to touch your writers unless you want them to.
yeah.
The masters, you have to renegotiate your master portion. And if they want to buy your masters out and you're in a group, they have to treat your family as you as a member.
Yeah.
And then who knows after you die if the other guys are gonna, you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things, man, that you got to sit down with your attorney and really make sure that your business is in order. Because look at so many artists that have died and their estate is a mess.
Yeah.
Family members are fighting with each other because they don't understand the business. And that's when you as an artist have to say, let me set my stuff up so there won't be any problems if something, God forbid, happens to me.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and I know when, nowadays when artists die, the labels are just, like, licking their chops over there because they make so much money, like, when Rich Homie Quan just passed away, the streams are going through the roof, which I mean, I think it's disgraceful to me, but it is what it is. It's like fans don't stream Rich Homie Quan that much while he's alive, but as soon as he dies, they wanna go through go start
That's how
streaming and supporting.
that's the way the mind that's how the public reacts. They want something, going back to what we said earlier, they want something authentic that nobody else
Yeah,
has. They want to be
yeah.
privy to something that has gotten a lot of attention. And funny you mentioned Rich
Rich
Homie
Homie
Quan,
Quan.
because we were in discussions about him doing Love You Down. And the text messages that I have about talking with his dad
Oh,
and one of
man.
the producers, yeah, yeah, it's crazy that we've been texting about him doing the new version of Love You Down. And I got this text message the other day about him dying. And I'm looking at the same text messages saying, what time can we talk on the phone with you and Rich Kwame and his dad about redoing Love You Down? And next thing you know, he's gone.
Damn,
You know,
that's
it's
that's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah, what advice would you have for a up and comer trying to get into the music business nowadays?
Stay original, do you. If you're talented, you got to be first to know it. If you don't have an ear to know what's good, it's going to be a challenge for you as an artist. Unless you're a singer and you've got a team that knows what it should sound like and go down like, one or the other. Stay original and surround yourself with a team that has an ear if you don't have one. Number two, you've got to have the financial resources to promote your music. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to move the needle.
Yeah.
And radio is expensive. Social
Yep.
media teams are expensive.
Yep.
So definitely make sure you get your financial game up before you even think you're going to move the needle. Even though your song might be the bomb diggity, it's so many other factors that will get in the way of everybody hearing your hit song if you don't have the resources to promote it and market it. You can put it on YouTube and you got a few people that might start showing love, but you won't move the needle unless you can promote and market it. You see these McDonald commercials and Wendy's commercials at Super Bowl time, they spend millions of dollars
Oh,
because
yeah.
promotion and marketing is what brings your product to the full fold, not the hamburger itself. It's great if the hamburger is great. Well, with music, it's great if you got a great song, but if you can't promote and market it, you're just gonna have a great song that's gonna land on a few thousand ears. So definitely
Yeah,
get, yeah.
basically, without market promotion, you could have the best burger on the planet and nobody knows.
Nobody knows. These companies know that. That's why they spend
Yeah.
millions of dollars on advertisement. We got to get your product in front of the people, because robots are going to buy it. So you got to
Nope.
get the song played for the people for them to say, that's my song. Let me stream it. But in order to get people to even know it's out there, you got to have satellite radio. You got to have terrestrial radio. You got to have social media. Now you got a chance. Yeah.
Now, going forward, even like 2026, 2027, can we expect, you to constantly keep making music?
I've never even stopped.
Okay.
I've been working with the majors for so long, and I'm still signed with Universal Publishing right now. I just re-signed 3 years ago. So never stopping doing music is one thing, but when the music industry changes to where now you become an independent artist, Now you're battling with the same majors that you were signed to. And that's been our thing. So right now, with You Complete Me going up the charts, we still had to battle with the majors because they want that slot too.
Yeah.
And so that's when you may not have heard of Melvin Riley through the years, you might have seen him battling, trying to get that airplay like the majors. But as far as music, oh my gosh, I'm gonna set this thing down after I smash it again. And that what I mean by that is we're gonna drop singles every 4 to 6 months, and you're gonna
That's
hear
what's
the
up.
real R&B that you've been missing for a long time because I've never changed the formula to what it takes to make a hit record. And so when you hear the new Melvin Riley stuff, it's gonna still be the hits. It's still gonna be that real R&B, that pop, that white, black, and Hispanics have loved for the years. Yes, indeed.
I got one more question before we let you do the shout out to let you go. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you got a busy schedule. What's something about you that most people don't know?
Uh, my knowledge of the game, I think people sometimes take for granted some artists, but my knowledge of the game is a lot deeper than probably people realize. I could actually start a label with the majors and show them how to do it the right way. My knowledge of the game and what moves the needle is one thing that a lot of people don't know about me. My publishing knowledge, my master's knowledge of the business, because if we as artists don't educate ourselves, we can go back
Yep.
to the 40s and 50s and 60s when artists were getting ripped off, not promoted right. We got to kind of take off the artist hat and become knowledgeable of this business to sustain the business. It's like the NFL. They know that players are dropping off through the years because moms are not wanting the guys to play football.
Yeah.
You, as an NFL owner or team, know that we have to build up young men and reintroduce this NFL game in order to have an NFL in the
Yeah.
future. So you got to kind of take your helmet off as a player and understand this game and see where you could either come in as a head coach, an assistant coach, a owner to make this thing survive called the NFL. Well, the same thing with music. These old heads are going to pass away. No disrespect, and God forbid. What's gonna be the music industry in 2050? What's going to be the music industry in 2040? You know what I'm saying? Set yourself up right now as an owner or a player to make sure that you keep this music thing jumping the way that it should. And only way to do that is to become a record label yourself, if you can do it.
And you made me think about somebody that just passed because I mean we've had a lot of people pass lately. We had DJ Polo, we had Fat Man School, we had Rich Homie Quan, but Frankie Beverly just passed. Did you ever have any interactions with him?
Oh man, we used to tour with Frankie Beverly, and when O Sheila blew up, Frankie Beverly opened up for us a few shows.
Oh, he opened up for y'all.
Yes, and excuse me, but O Sheila was here.
That was number it was the number one
That was
hit. Yeah,
everywhere. So Oh Sheila became this song that where not only it stayed in the R&B realm, but it went past that. And Frankie Beverly's catalog of music is so great and so feel
yeah.
good. And it was that summertime picnic type of vibe. And so when we started touring, it was a few shows where they opened up for us. And I was honored to be on the show with Frankie Beverly and Maze, growing up listening to that great field music. Um, and of course, nowadays they still sounded great. The music doing what it did, and so that broke my heart yesterday when my manager he called me real early and let me know that he had passed. But you know, big legend, the real deal. That's what I mean by a real artist, Frankie Beverly, a real artist, vocally, musically, the whole nine.
Yeah, when I was doing the post and I was trying to pick a song, like every single song just sounded so amazing.
It's the spirit behind their music that you can't put that together. It has to just happen.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about Frankie Beverly and Maze. When you listen to Frankie Beverly and Maze, man, you can go through the house and clean up the house. You can work on the whatever you're working on. It's just can't be duplicated. It's one of them things that you either got it or you don't. And Frankie Beverly and Mays just had that chemistry that's going to live forever.
That's what's up. Well, I appreciate you taking your time, man. Any shout outs you want to do before you go?
Hey, I just want to give a shout out to my fans who have shown me so much love through the years. And there's a lot of people in this industry I can give a shout out to: Livio Harris, Courtney Benson, and my big guy Ken Wilson at radio, and his dream team, Jan Land. Uh, a lot of my friends out there, Renee Atkins, and Renee has been phenomenal to my career. Um, I just want to thank everybody, man. But the fans, you guys have stuck with me, and I am not gonna let you down. I'm gonna keep dropping them and dropping them and dropping them until I can't drop the songs no more. So we're gonna keep it banging.
Well, I appreciate you, man. You a friend of the show. Anytime you need something, let me know. Olivia will be sending me a lot of stuff to clip up for you and whatnot. So,
Oh man,
you
I
know,
appreciate
yeah, yeah.
that
He
so
just
much.
sent me something to clip up with the father MC, a little video with the pictures and stuff like that. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm good friends with Chris Roker too, man. He's been like a mentor to me,
that's another
for a
shout out.
long time. Yeah,
Oh man, yeah, yeah, yeah. These phenomenal guys. These guys they know how it's supposed to be done.
yeah.
Chris Rokers, the Livio here, the Ken Wilsons, the these people know how it's supposed to be done, and I'm just blessed to have a team like that.
Yeah, I actually work a lot of records for, Ken Wilson through Barry Benson as well, like,
Very busy. Oh,
everybody knows everybody, man. The internet's made it such a small world, man.
well, the industry has always been small. The heavy hitters are the heavy hitters in this industry,
Yep,
and hopefully, you as an artist can surround yourself with the heavy hitters like a Ken Wilson.
yep. Well, I appreciate your time, man, and you have a lovely day, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Great interview, and we'll do this again on some of the other singles, my man.
Alright, anytime, man.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it.
Alright, peace. Well, there you have it. Melvin Riley, ready for the world. I hope y'all ready for me to clip up some of these clips and release this interview. I want to say shouts out to Livio Harris for basically linking me up with Melvin. Definitely shouts out to Chris Roker, Kid Wilson, Barry Benson, the whole team, man, the whole team. And shouts out to Melvin Riley from Ready for the World for taking time out of his busy schedule real early. It's like 11 a.m. in the morning over here, so it's literally like 8 in the morning over there and whatnot. So appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode live from Fayettenam. This one wasn't live; it's pre-recorded, but we're gonna upload it anyways and put out some amazing clips. Appreciate y'all. Peace, and I'm out.